We gotta talk about something no one else is telling you, and that is long-term thinking, long-term growth, long-term commitment. Welcome to the podcast Manifesting Big Money Fast. My name is Jeanine Hurd. I am so excited that you found this podcast or that you're tuning in to another episode. This podcast is all about manifestation, big money, energetics, spirituality, how it's all connected, and most importantly, how you can increase your bank account right now. So let's dive in today's episode. Money lovers, I love you. And if there's one thing I'm well known for, it is real talk. We gotta talk about the things which are not just glorious, the things which are unsexy, however, which are fundamental in order to manifest big money fast. The other day, I had a very powerful conversation with someone who wanted to join Manifesting Big Money, the university, and we actually renamed this to the Full Transformation, which is a full year. And that gives you access to 3 parts. Each of those parts lasts 4 months. So part number 1, you've heard me say this on this podcast, I'm teaching you in 4 months how to make more money. Part number 2 is also 4 months in the full transformation. That is, you have to learn how to have, to hold, and to manage your money. And part number 3 is to multiply, to invest the money. And it has to happen in those 3 steps, because if you don't know how to multiply, or if you don't know how to make more money, or aka have more money, then you're bringing basically 0 to the table when you invest. 0 times any number equals 0. And this is what happens, that people often immediately go to investing without doing step number 1 and 2. So as of now, you also can, if you don't want to do the full transformation, which I don't understand why you wouldn't, you actually now you just can buy part 1, which is to learn how to make more money, or part 2, if you're at this point where you always spend your money. It seems like the more money you make, it doesn't mean that you have more money left at the end of the month. You're always spending. There's a pattern. There are things that have to be cleared. You have to come up with a new plan. And this is what we are doing in part number 2. Or you just can buy part number 3, which is the multiplying, the investing. However, I highly recommend you, unless you're completely honest with yourself and you've truly mastered number 1 and 2, you don't just buy the 3rd part. That's why the whole process is a full year. And this person asked me, why so long? Like, it's called Manifesting Big Money Fast. Why so long? And I thought, wow, thank you so much for this question. I love it. So, and here's the answer. And I thought it's very powerful to share this on the podcast. First of all, everything that is outrageously good, you are good at, you've practiced up to 1,000 hours. Studies say that if you learn a new skill, you want to master something, it takes 1,000 hours. Just to say that. However, this is Jeanine being judgy, in the poor society, people believe there is like a short-term remedy, like an aspirin. It's easier to take an aspirin instead of understanding, why am I having a headache? Where is it coming from? And doing something against the cause. So most likely you will never have a headache in your life. It's more work now, but the rewards last a lifetime. That's why the whole supplement industry is massive, because people believe if they just take some supplements, they become healthy, gain muscles, and it's like a workout. Instead of going to the gym, doing the work, having a healthy body for a lifetime by working out every single day. So the poor people always are looking for short-term fix, for short-term remedy. The same in coaching and when it comes to money. And that's what I always say, it's easy to make $1 million once. It's a whole different story when we talk about making multi-millions in the same business and making more and more money faster. It's not a short-term fix. And if you've never learned anything about money, like how to make more money, if this is an issue, if you haven't mastered this, it's only step 1. It's a first step. Step number 2, how to have more money. If you haven't learned this, or if you haven't learned how to multiply your money, guess what? No short-term fix is gonna help. People think like, oh my gosh, this person said, I'm just gonna buy this crypto coin or share, or oh my gosh, this is a new thing, ETFs. And many years ago, I'm like, people always think there's now like a short-term remedy. I'm putting all my money here, trusting all those people. They tell us a good thing to put the money in the ETFs. Jesus, understand this. You cannot have the freaking results. You can't have results if you don't do the work. It's insane to believe that you can have results without doing the work. And this is also true for your financial, for your money, for your financial love story of your life. Hey, my parents didn't teach me anything. Nothing of great value when it comes to money. I'm not blaming them. I was interested in money from an early age on, so I taught myself. First, I taught myself how to make more money. Like back then, it looked like how to find the jobs which paid the most. Insane bonuses I've always received since my first job, since I've been 18. University. Going to a very prestige university in Europe helped me. On purpose. Working. The job I took in investment banking. On purpose. I always knew how to make more money. Simply, I taught myself. I'm a truffle pig for money. I know where the big money is. That's where I go. That's where I receive it. My parents also didn't teach me anything about part 2, how to have or hold more money. They're actually very contradictory. My dad is a big saver. I love my dad. We have a very great relationship. However, when I reflect on him, his relationship with money is he saves because he's scared. It's a scarcity saving. It's not like, ooh, this is fun and let me do something and let me multiply. This is why I put money aside. I have a plan. I'm only saving. I don't even want to say saving, putting money aside to multiply it. Till today, I said this, I always have, especially in today's times, less than $10,000 in my bank account. It's a whole different story. I think I'm going to do a webinar about this. If you read the terms and conditions of the banks, your money is not safe with the bank. If the bank goes bankrupt, they are allowed. You sign this document. It's the same in all Western countries, that they can use your savings to bail out the bank. Then your savings are gone. Or the countries like the US, the European Union, they have laws that they say up to like 100,000 or 250,000, it depends on the country, is being protected by the government. But guys, brain on. How can a freaking government protect you if the government is broke? The government has so much debt in the Western world, they don't have the means to bail out people. The other day I read a statistics. I have to go back. This is intuitive hit now, but it stated that like the US and the European Union could bail out 3 or 5% of the money that's put in banks. And let's be honest, you think you're relevant, important enough that you belong to the 3 or 5% they're going to bail out? Guys, wake up. No. So we have to learn. Part number 2 is, so this was my dad, the saver. My mom was a spender. And she always says, oh, money got to go around. Money got to go around. And I love this vibe. I was the biggest spender. Till today, I love spending. However, my behavior has changed drastically. So back then, I always thought, oh my gosh, it's a cool thing. My bank account it's a vibe. Like I receive money at the beginning of the month and it's empty at the end of the month. It's not normal. It's not standard. It doesn't make you rich. It doesn't create anything for you. You're broke because you spent all your money most likely on stupid shit. And it's a pattern, and we have to understand where this pattern is coming from. And now people think, oh, let me just make more money. Doesn't matter. I've been there. 10K, 50K, 100K, 250K, always found a reason every month to spend this money. There are even podcast episodes where I said like, oh, this was my first 10K shopping trip. This was my first 30K shopping trip. This was my first 50K shopping trip. This was my first 100K shopping trip. It's not difficult to spend more, but it leads to the same output of having zero, having little money in the bank account. And not because it's a conscious decision to take it out and to multiply it. What I'm doing today, it's simply, it was gone, spent on stupid shit. So that leads me, I had to teach myself, and this part 2 took me the longest. Part 2 in this process, how to learn how to have, to hold money and to manage my money, took the longest out of all. And we are all different. That's why we are having those 3 steps I want you to master, because what you will receive is long-term, life-lasting financial success, no matter what the amount is. But can you see what we're building is a freaking long-term growth plan? It's a muscle. It's something you build that you have for the rest of your life that you're going to teach your freaking children. It's not a short-term remedy. It's not a freaking aspirin. I know you guys want this, but it doesn't work like that. And now part number 3 is, if I know how to make more, I can hold it. I'm not spending it on stupid shit. Now I can multiply my money. And that's what I'm doing right now. A lot of the money I receive is actually coming from how I am multiplying my money. And that was one part of my plan, to have less money coming in through my business and more money through multiplying. And again, this is personal preference. But again, also here, no one taught me anything about investing. My parents never, anyone in my family never invested in anything. Like they had their own real estate we lived in, but I would not consider this an investing vehicle. They were not active on the stock market. Yeah, cryptos back then didn't exist when I was a child. No ETFs, no nothing. However, I understood how important it is. And I understood early on, I will never forget this moment. We had something like a fake stock exchange program at university where you just can sign up and you kind of can pretend like, oh, I have 1,000 euros. And for 1,000 euros, I would buy this share and this share and this. And then you kind of can hold and you sell. It's kind of like practicing on the stock exchange without your own money. It's just a game. And I did this and I thought, oh my gosh, this is like 1,000. Back then, 1,000 euros, and investing as a college student was like really big money for me. And then what I gained over the month was, I don't know, 50, 60 bucks. I'm like, ooh, this is not really a big thing. It's not going to make a big difference for me. So I thought, okay, wow, if I'm going to invest like 10,000, 100,000, and I just started adding zeros. And this moment really like hit me so hard in my nervous system. Like, okay, the more money I actually can put in, the higher the leverage, obviously, the more I make. And again, it's a skill and also comes with discipline. And this is something I taught in another episode is I always ask myself, is this good for myself now and for the future? And can you see, if you ask yourself, is it good for me now to take an aspirin? The answer is yes. But is it also good for me in the future? The answer is no. And this is always what I told this person to sum up this podcast episode. You can ask yourself, if it's good for you now to invest in the full transformation, manifesting big money fast, step 1, 2, and 3, and the answer maybe hope it's yes. But you know for sure, is this also good for me in the future? Hell yes. And this is something we have to learn, that the more we actually have from our decisions in a long-term perspective, the more we should focus on it. And it's a muscle you have to learn and to train yourself to fucking leave instant gratification behind, especially in a business context. It's unsexy. It's an unsexy work, but it's a work that is required and you can learn it. And if you haven't signed up for Manifesting Big Money Fast, the full transformation for 12 months, where we do this work in great detail, you should do it right now. Because there's no better point in time than building your financial success story right now that will last a freaking lifetime and not just a couple weeks or months or one sale coming in. I love you. You've got this. I talk to you soon. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast Manifesting Big Money Fast. I've got 3 very important announcements for you. First, if you like what you're listening, make sure you leave some gratitude, leave a review, share the podcast. Second, if you love what you're listening to and you want more of that, there is a VIP version available. That means you will have access to 3 podcast episodes every single week. Simply check out the store, courses.richandhappiness.com, or the link in the show notes. And lastly, there are always monthly money activations happening around the new moon and full moon. If that is something you're interested, check out the store for the next money activation. I love you and I can't wait to see your beautiful face soon again.